What's up guys, John Origins here. Today got a Pokemon Showdown Replay in the RU tier. Now, I've been playing a lot of RU recently for very particular reasons, including the fact that I wanted to meet the required voting criteria for the recent RU suspect test, including for Yanmega and Zoroark. The requirements were like 60 GXE and 2400 coil. I finally hit that goal. It took me about 2.5 days of not solid playing but casual, every so often getting a game playing. I think I played about 70 games and it was a lot of fun. I met a lot of interesting sets, a lot of interesting people. Like, you see people on the ladder like 2 or 3 times a day and you end up meeting some friends and you see a lot of interesting sets. Also in the forum where the suspect test was first announced, I have actually posted a thread, and I've said some stuff about the suspect test, so I'll leave a print screen to that in the description. I'll also leave a link to the forum in the description as well, so you can check that out. And also I want to hear what your thoughts on the bans are in the descriptions below if you haven't already mentioned them on my previous video, which you might have. I don't know if I recommended it or not, but I have met the requirements, so I'll definitely be voting. You'll see on my actual post that on the Smoke On page that I want to ban Yanmega and maybe keep Zoroark because it's not that big of a threat. So basically my thoughts are there, so go check them out. And today we have a game including the one and only Gurdurr, the most powerful being in all of RU. Now, it is a fantastic mon in the tier purely because it handles Sharpedo. It handles Zoroark, it handles Cinccino, Heliolisk, Ambipom, the list goes on and on, Cobalion, Registeel, a bunch of steel types. Oh my god, it is incredible. It also does well against Slowking and Rhyperior, so it's a really good mon. Its relatively checks are currently like Yanmega, Amoonguss, Golbat, but eventually you can beat them down, especially if the Amoonguss doesn't carry Spore or you've already got Sleep Fighter. So it's a very, very, very good mon in the tier at the moment, so I would recommend using it, to be honest. And I'm pairing it up with a physically defensive Gligar, a specially defensive Registeel, a choice specs Moltres, my standard Banatza, which is max HP, max attack, and then finally standard Dark Michelle, especially defensive Aromatisione. My opponent's team is looking really scary. It just looks like a team that focuses around weakening down guys with Rotom, Slowking and Hitmontop, along with Gurdurr, and then destroying lives with Meloetta and Sharpedo. So Sharpedo's not actually a threat because I have Gurdurr, and Meloetta I have Registeel, so I'm not particularly too scared of that. I just have to hope that my team doesn't get worn down too much, and I have to keep Gurdurr healthy. So let's get into this game. I'm going to lead off with my Banette, as my opponent leads off with my Druddigon. His Druddigon even. My opponent is called bb13. Now on the first turn I'm going to Will-O-Wisp, just in case the Druddigon was choice banded. I really wanted to get that neutralized because he does not have an obvious heal batter on his team. And on the following turn I am going to try and go for the Knockoff, but unfortunately I do get paralyzed, which really does suck because I would have really wanted to get rid of this Pokemon's item, as you'll see later on. Now as the Hitmontop comes in, I am going to score the crit on this Hitmontop, get the Assault Vest taken off, and that damage is going to really help me later on in the game because of that helpful crit, and then nice and paralyzed, nice and redemption. 2 Power Hexes for me so far, and then I'm going to hit this Will-O-Wisp, but then I'm going to get crit by this Rotom, which you will see matters because he is Choice Scarfed, you'll find out. And I'm pretty sure Choice Scarf Rotom Leaf Storm does not kill Banette. I think it only does about 85%. So I wouldn't have been able to get off my Knockoff, which would have really helped. But I'm going to go into my Gligar because I can get off the Defog against a -2 Rotom, and then I'm going to U-turn out on the Slowking. And he's going to go for the Scald. I'm going to go into my Michelle. No, he's going to go for the Toxic. I'm going to go into a Aromatisione, who is a really good switch into Slowking, because I can Aromatherapy, Therapy, I can start wishing, getting some HP spread around the field. I can also get Moonblasting to do some nice little damage to his Mons. Because a lot of his guys don't have forms of recovery. His Druddigon, his Meloetta, Rotom, Hitmontop, and Sharpedo do not have forms of recovery, so getting any damage on the field is just fan-fucking-tastic. As I'm going to go for the Moonblast as he starts Charge, Beam, and Gut, which kind of reveals that he's a Assault Vest set. And at this point I realise that Registeel is a counter, so I'm going to go into the counter and go for the safe T-Wave. He does end up bringing in the Rotom, which in all honesty I was not expecting, and at this point I know he's going to trick me. but I don't want to go into anything because I don't think anything wants a trick, especially my Gligar and my Gurdurr. They would hate a trick right now, and I didn't want to go into my Moltres just in case he went for the Volt Switch anticipating that. But I ended up going for my Rocks. I feel like Rocks will be good because, like I said, his mons do not have forms of recovery, so any damage is damage. And on this turn, I'm going to predict the Volt Switch going into my Gligar, and then I'm going to double into my Moltres, anticipating the Will-O-Wisp or the Leaf Storm, because I'm immune to the Will-O-Wisp and I'm 4 times resistant to the Leaf Storm. But he ends up going into his Slowking, which I think was his safe play, the Gligar anyway, so and that's okay with me. And I end up going for the Hurricane because I know I can live a Scald and I kind of want to scout for damage. Because it does over half, I'm really confident I can go for another one, because at this point in the game he does not have anything to take a Hurricane coming from a choice specs Moltres outside of that Slowking, so he had to switch out, sacrifice his Rotom, then bring in his Slowking, get the Regenerator boost on the go, and now he can live the hit. So I am forced to switch out, go into my Registeel, who unfortunately gets burned. Not too bad, I do have the Aromatherapy on my Regitil, so that's not a big deal. But Registeel is kind of useless to me because of the fact that he did trick me the Choice Scarf, but I have got my Star Frogs up, so that's not a huge deal to me. But on this turn, I am going to go for the Will-O-Wisp on the off, not Will-O-Wisp, the Aromatherapy on the off chance that my Registeel does find use, because it can still be used against this Meloetta to try and kill it. But I do have this Registeel who should be comfortable for at least for a bit longer, because I am going to stay in here. I don't really see the need to switch out just yet. What I need to do is get some damage on this Meloetta, and at that point I can go into my Registeel and knock it out with a couple of Seismic Tosses. I know I'm probably going to lose my Registeel because of this, but I don't think any of his guys are too much of a threat, and I think a Registeel has done a good job already. So I'm going to sack it. He ends up revealing the Side Shock, which does knock me out. Because I do have a Registeel, I am nice and bulky. He does miss the Charge Beam, which I really doubt would have done any damage. And on this turn, the Shadow Ball, as you can see, does 0 damage to me, so I can knock him out with a second Seismic Toss. And then goes Meloetta, which was by far kind of the biggest threat to my team, even though I do have that Moltres who would outspeed. And then on the next turn, he brings in this Gurdurr. I have a check. I have Nice and Gligar, who can come in. I am going to go for the EQ this turn on opposed to the Defog, just in case he wanted to get a free switch into like a Sharpedo or something. He ends up going for the Glare, and now on this turn I'm going to try and go for that Defog, get rid of the hazards, so that my Moltres can come in a bit more freely. I do end up not getting paralyzed, which is just fan-fucking-tastic, and Stealth Rocks are off the field. I can try and get up my Rocks later with my Registeel, but I honestly do not see the point at this point. See the point at this point? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. As I go for the U-turn, I can go into my Gurdurr and be the most frustrating thing in the world, because I'm going to get up a Bulk Up, and then he Toxics me, so I end up getting the +1 boost with my Bulk Up, and then the Guts boost. So I'm looking pretty powerful right now. He ends up sacrificing his Gurdurr, making a really good play. He ends up being the Rocky Helmet, and that's why the knockoff kind of mattered with the Powerless, because I wouldn't have had so much damage on my Gurdurr at this point in the game. As he ends up bringing in the Hitmontop, he's going to try switching around with Slowking / Hitmontop to Toxic Storm me a bit, but I did get quite a lot of HP back from that Drain Punch, and the following turn I really doubt he's going to switch, so I'm actually going to stay and go for the knockoff, and bam! Slowking's dead, and Gurdurr is still at a point where it can take 2 Toxic damages. So I'm going to switch out, save my Gurdurr for later, because I do need it for that Sharpedo. I'm going to switch into my Registeel as Death Fodder. I could always try and get a T-Wave off, but this thing does have the close combat. I end up being... oh yeah, I outspeed because I'm fucking Choice Scarfed. Nice and fast Registeel. But because of those defenses drops, I can safely go into my Gligar, knowing that I can take any hit that this thing wants to go for, and knock him out with the EQ. Luckily, the Power Finish does not work out for him. I can end up knocking out that Hitmontop. His last is that Sharpedo. It does beat my Moltres and my Gligar, but as you can see, because his Life Orb, he has no chance of winning. I'm going to bring in my Moltres here purely because I want to get some Life Orb recoil on the go, just to guarantee that my Gurdurr will OHKO it. I have a feeling that Gurdurr's Mach Punch one-hit KOs it, but getting the 2 lots of Life Orb damage just guarantees it to me, because I haven't really done any calcs on Sharpedo because I know it's so frail that it probably doesn't even matter. But Mach Punch is going to come in now after he tries to Protect once. I don't know why he went for the Protect once. He should have really gone for the double protect and try and got it, and then try and get the triple protect, because he probably should have known that Mach Punch was going to kill him. But that is going to be the game, people. A narrow 1-0. The Gurdurr punning through, nice and powerful in the IE tier, and yeah, it was a good game, people. bb13, yeah. Like I said, check out all the suspecting information in the description. It's a very interesting forum. You do learn a lot from it. From reading the posts, you learn a lot about best counters and stuff like that. So that's really, really good. So yeah, I've been John Origins, and I'm out. So peace.